Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide, a camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the Appalachian Mountains, fields and streams. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks that are on the run. Where those dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The coyotes run all night. It's music to my ears and in my sights. I've got this hunting fever down in my bones. Glad my daddy taught me everything I know. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks that are on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, a bugling elks that are on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The TLC Outfitter is our name.
Hey folks, welcome to Tuesday nights on air and outdoors with TLC Outfitters. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. My name's Trinity, and as always, we are joined tonight by Mr. Woolwine. Matt, buddy, looks like you're on the road tonight.
Yeah, boy, a little different background tonight.
Yeah, that's right, man. Thanks for being with us. Thank you all for being with us. If you're not done so, please like and share. Get the word out there about all things on air and outdoors. Folks, we got a great show for you tonight. We got two individuals on here that is sure to make this show nothing short of
Comical.
One funny and one educational. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to be joined tonight by Mr. John Hass with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. I think there's not a person in the elk world, especially with the Commonwealth, that don't know the name John Hass. John has put in many, many years and a lot of time with these Kentucky elk and is leading the way as far as all the knowledge and everything that goes on with Kentucky's elk herd and the hunting seasons and everything like that. So, man, we're excited to have John on. We're going to be talking about a lot of information, a lot of good information for Kentucky elk hunters tonight. And also we're going to be joined by Justin Tinsley from Tinsley Custom Wildlife, as Justin is a is a holder of a coveted bull tag for this year. We're going to be talking to both of these guys about the upcoming season. We are real excited. And tonight's show is brought to you by Trapline Beard Oil. If you've not done so, please go over and give them a like and a follow. Check out all their products. Man, how's that beard oil treating you there, Matt?
Hey, bud, look at this right here. I mean, you could at least compliment this thing a little bit. You know, it's growing out. I mean, I've only got about 2 or 3 more inches till it's the optimal beard. Optimal.
Yep. Optimal.
Yeah. I can grow it longer than I have, but about right in here is about the right length, son. That makes me look like I need to buy a Harley Davidson.
Styling and profiling, son.
Yeah, boy.
Right here. This show brought to you by Trapline Beard Oil. Go over and give our buddy Brian a follow, man. And check out all those products. I tell you what, man, coming up this fall, that skeeter dope, the more I'm outside, that old skeeter dope, especially maybe for squirrel season, is going to really keep them old biting bugs away from a guy.
Yep. No, I'm that'd probably be the next one on my list to order up, buddy.
That's right. So Trapline Beard Oil. Man, I tell you what, we've got so much to talk about tonight. I don't want to waste any time, but you know, as always, we got to go about the Bicknell Bunch brag board. And I'll tell you what, buddy, you have been leading the way on the Bicknell Bunch brag board.
What can I say, man? Them coyotes, they enjoy the spotlight. You know, they enjoy getting on here and getting their 15 minutes of fame, and so when they want to be a special guest, I'll let them.
Now, you have definitely become a Pied Piper of the Coyotes, man, and we've been showcasing them week after week. Folks, go over and give the Bicknell Bunch Outdoors a follow. Great bunch of people, faith, family, farming, and the outdoors. Bicknell Bunch brag board. You need to check that out. And for tonight's brag board, we got our very own Matt Woolwine right here with another dog. That last minute deal, closing it in and getting it done. Am I right?
Yeah, but that ain't the one I thought you was gonna show.
Oh,
have you got another one?
I didn't have the other one on here.
Huh?
I must have missed it.
Yeah, man. Me and the old wifey there, we've teamed up as a pretty good husband and wife team, and unfortunately, she's got a torn rotator cuff, so she's having a hard time shooting right now, but she's really enjoyed getting out there, and I call her my binocular baby. She spots them coyotes out when they're way out there, lets me know they're coming. That way I can wake up and make a good shot.
Yep. I see that, man. I missed this one. I'm gonna try to get it on here.
There, buddy.
But I'm working on it. I'm working as fast as I can. And we got some folks joining us tonight. But this old dog right here fell victim, and as you can see right there at the last hours of light.
Hey, you know what this coyote was, don't you?
What's that? This
was last Tuesday when we closed on air and outdoors. And I said, I'm going to try to go make one set. So I jumped in the truck, grabbed my gun, headed down the road, went to a farm there close by. And I called the guy on the way in, and I said, do you have a 4-wheeler handy? And he said, it's sitting outside. And he said, you better hurry because you're losing light quick. So I jumped on that 4-wheeler, run down there where I thought maybe I'd have some luck. Threw that call out, got hid in the weeds. And that old swagger bipod there held me dead steady. I hit that Fox Pro call, that X24. I played a couple female sorehouses and went to pup distress number 3. So it wasn't 30 seconds. There it was. And I didn't have enough light to wait on it, so I shot her out there about 200 yards.
Yep. And man, I mean, you're talking about mere minutes. I mean, you didn't have any time whatsoever. I mean, you know, usually we're kind of talking about at the end of the show, after the show is over with, we're kind of talking about things, doing a little recap, talking about, this or that. And you didn't have time.
I didn't have. I hung up before you even got the chance. As soon as you went to the closing credits there, I hit the X and I jumped out of there and got out of there. But it was 9:02, when we closed the show. It was
Yep.
9:24 when I killed the coyote, and 9:29 was shooting light, I believe it was.
Yep.
Or at least shooting, you can hunt coyotes at night, you just can't illuminate them, but
That's right. And here, Covert Chaos.
this one right here was Friday, I believe.
Yep.
I believe it's Friday. We went over to Jill's parents there and had a little dinner, and she leaned over on the couch. I thought she's gonna try to get frisky with me, and she said, you want to go coyote hunting? I said, yeah, baby, let's go coyote hunting. So we jumped in the truck. I checked the Onyx and found out where my wind was. We went down there. Now I gotta tell you, turned the call on. A couple minutes goes by, and a coyote comes out from the right, and it was close. And it veered away from, instead of going directly to the call, it veered away from us. And I thought maybe it busted us. And then it got in a spot where I didn't realize that the ground rolled a little bit. And it got in that low spot past that knob. And all I could see was the top of its back. And I kind of took the coyote acorns, or if you know what I mean. And I said, man, I better make that shot. And I believe I grazed the ground before I got to the dog, because I didn't have very much there to aim at. And son, it took off, and then it got out there about 200 yards, and I rushed another shot. And then just a few seconds later, she said, "Look over here to the left." And this one, I'd already settled down a little bit when this one rolled in. So
yeah.
I did miss one twice.
Yep. The Covert Chaos KO. Way to go, Matt and Jill. Base, I tell you what, she's been your lady luck.
My binocular baby, my bino baby.
Your bino baby. I bet she's eating that up right there. I'll tell you what. Bino baby.
She's enjoyed it. It's so much fun because, one, you're out there doing something. Two, you're helping out farmers and the wildlife, the cattle, the sheep, the goats, whatever livestock they're raising. You're helping out the wildlife. You're helping out the farmer. But there again, this is not an all day event. You run out there for an hour and you can make 3 sets.
Yep, that's right.
It's a quick little end of the day. First thing in the morning. Honestly, a man could go make 2 or 3 sets before he even left for work in the morning if he wanted to.
That's right.
So
that's right. Way to go, man.
We're having a lot of fun with it.
Yep. And I cannot forget this little guy. You talk about a brag board guy right here. Got to shout out a huge happy birthday, 1 year old. And I know Paw is excited and very proud. And what's her name? Is she Mimi? What's
Mimi? Yeah, Mimi.
Mimi is too. Little Kason Thomas, 1 year old today. Happy birthday, Kason.
You see there, they got that golfing background, but you see what he's doing there, putting his camouflage face paint on.
That's what he's doing. That's right.
He's getting ready to go hunting. You got to get that face paint smeared on there so they can't see that reflection.
Yeah. Yeah. Little man's birthday. Happy birthday, buddy. Folks, we got a lot of people that's joining us. We appreciate very much. We got a number 1 fan. My mama says hello. Thank you, Mama. Gator Paul says, hey, y'all. Our very own Corey Black says, howdy, guys. Your better half says, hi, brother. Hi, husband. Hi, sissy. That lady's put in a long day. No doubt. Gator Paul says, fixing to get after them coyotes after the show tonight.
Are they year-round thermal down there?
I'm not sure. Gator Paul can answer that. Jill laughing at you, talking about buying old baby and getting frisky on the couch with an OMG. Miss Christy Tinsley. I like to call her the brains and the beauty of the operation there at Tinsley Custom Wildlife, because when we're talking about our counterpart, well, you said it, not me. I'm not going there. Jill said you just missed it. You missed the coyote.
Wise.
Yeah. Our buddy Corey Evans says, love the cast, guys. Look forward to it. Thank you, man. All around badass couple.
Thanks, Corey.
And Gator Paul says, yes, it is in all year in Florida. Man, I tell you what, it's time to get to our guests. They've taken time out of their busy schedule. We appreciate them very much. I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite subjects tonight, and that's let's bring them on here. We got Mr. John Hass. We got Mr. Justin Tinsley. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Mr. Africa. Good trip, babe?
Wish I was still there.
Yeah. Justin's got a little bit of delay on us. Always a little technical difficulty.
I love those 40-degree mornings.
A lot better than 99, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, Justin,
yesterday.
You didn't tell us your twin was going to be on here with you.
Who's that?
That man sitting next to you there.
Right here?
Yeah.
That's all right, Matt. At least my wife ain't talking about quickies.
Keep in mind, this is a family show, guys. Here we go. John, man, thanks for joining us. I'll tell you what, when anybody wants to talk or think about elk, when the elk world is brought up, I don't think there's not a person out there that don't know the name John Hass, man. And just want to start off by thanking you for all your dedication and all the years of work and everything you've put into this program, man, to be able to have the opportunity year after year to be able to hunt this, man. You've been on the front lines. You've been behind the scenes. You've been in every aspect of it. And just want to thank you, man. Thank you for your dedication.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. I know it's been an up and down battle. I know that, you've seen and heard and all that. But what we're here to talk about tonight is a positive spin, man. I want to talk about all the good works that the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife is doing, specifically targeted at the elk herd. We got Justin over here that's got a tag for this year. Going to be hunting with a coveted rifle bull tag. We're excited about that. We got a all-star team for Justin this year, and going to try to close the deal for him. And we got a lot of other hunters that's going to be watching this either sooner or later. But tell everybody about the good works, man. You all are out there, getting after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our two big things, and this is something that we've done every year since the dawn of time, is looking at adding public land. That's always a comment we get. Had some good success with that recently. Justin certainly going to benefit from that on some extra property that Kentucky River Properties put in. So come out to about 40,000 acres, which is nothing to laugh at there. That's a good chunk, and that'll put some more people on regulated areas, which is what we're after. A few of those places, we've looked them over as far as access goes. A few of those places, it's going to be the first time a hunter stepped foot on it with an elk tag in a long time. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a little bit of learning curve, but some of these places we always stress, get out there and scout. Get out there, take the weekend, and just find the place to pull off the blacktop and get up on the mine. You don't want to be doing that the morning before the hunt. So, and then secondly, what we kicked off, I guess really it was about December of 21, kicked off a big habitat initiative in East Kentucky. And we have had a big learning curve on that one, but I think honestly, we finally kind of got it figured out this year. Just in terms of efficiency, we're not looking to, make a couple acres into a food plot. We're looking to make 1,000 acres and keep it in grass, thousands of acres and keep it in grass. So doing that, we got had really great success last year. RMEF, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, gave us about $100,000 to aerial spray last year, and they followed that up this year with $250,000 to helicopter spray. That's about 4,000 or 5,000 acres, depending on how we can stretch it, and that will make a big difference. We're already seeing the benefits of that. Boone Forest Lands and Ashers, where we sprayed last fall, we'll be putting the bulk of that spraying acres down on the Italia, Cumberland Forest, WMA, down around Middlesboro, and then parts of the one that's just up there in Knox County. So you kind of got to focus that. It's not with the helicopter and all the trucks, you want to be in one spot where you can put some acres on the ground right there to get your money's worth. And then we'll follow that up with fire. So part of the RMEF grant that we got us a lot of dozer time. Be able to put in fire breaks that'll last forever, and we can come back in and put a fire rotation on all that stuff. And our agency had a lot of experience with prescribed fire, but not a lot in the mountain environment. Really good at burning big prairies, Central Kentucky, West Kentucky. So we've kind of had to learn how to treat it in the mountains. And there's some things that are honestly a lot easier out here than there's some challenges with doing that. So I think our total for last year acres burned was right under 4,000 acres. And that was spread between parts of Martin County, parts of Floyd County, and then down kind of the Boone Forest Lands, Bell Harlan line area. So really knocked out some big chunks. And that was 4,000 acres that we did in 12 days of burning. So we were getting after it. And that's about what we get in the winter seasons, 12 to 15 good days weather-wise. So all of that coming together, I mean, we're experimenting a little bit in the month of August. We're going to getting ready to spray this week and then burn some stuff off in August, kind of to replicate, putting a fall food plot in, just see how that goes, if it works. Great, and that's something we'll expand in the future. But long story short, getting rid of the autumn olive, putting some herbicide on the Sericea lesbideza, and getting us back to grass. The places that we've really done well, that grass comes back. It's amazing what's in the seed bank, and the elk come in there. I've always got the benefit. I mean, you can see it just looking at it on the ground when you're finding elk beds and our fire lines, the elk are literally keeping them beat down because they've become an elk trail. But then, of course, looking at our GPS data, like they really do relate to these places that we burn in the winter. A lot of calves born in those areas, and then they use them through the summer. So generally, I think we've kind of hit a stride with this. It was an uphill battle, just in terms of feeling like we weren't being real efficient. And we finally hit that stride this year, and with RMEF support, we'll have another big slug of acres to spray this fall and burn off this winter, and it'll look nice. We'll just keep that up.
Good deal, man. I don't think people sometimes hear, you look at all the acreage across the 16 county elk zone, which entails about 4 million acres. And, people maybe think to themselves, 4,000 acres, a year isn't a whole lot to burn. That's a lot. And that's a lot of manpower. When you start putting 4,000 acres of viable habitat for these things back into rotation, other than autumn olive thickets and whatever else, you keep building on that year after year. Every year that goes through, it gets a little easier and a little easier as you come back around to rotation, because you've got all those things in place. So, I don't want people to hear, well, that's just 4,000 acres. I tell you what, you go out and find me anywhere. You go out and find us 4,000 really suitable acres for great habitat. You're not going to find that in a lot of areas.
No.
It's going to be real patchy.
Mm-hmm.
As a cattle farmer, you talk 2 acres per cow calf pair. Of good solid grass to sustain your livestock. And so if you think about that, if you burned 4,000 acres last year, just using that number 4,000, that's 2,000 head, 2,000 mama cows and calves, basically. I mean, of just if it was straight, pure, usable food source.
Yep.
And, yes, you burned it last year. Maybe this year it's not completely lush and a perfect thing, but let's say that went and helped 1,000 grown head and 1,000 calves. Man, that's a big deal, dude. That's a big deal. You're talking, 10,000 elk or whatever is in the state now. And so, you do that over a 3, 4, 5 year period, you've really made some habitat changes because, used to one thing we had 15 years ago was big continuous acres of grazable land for these elk. And those big acres continuous are just not there anymore. And so, that food source, that grazable acreage is a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the dozers, as we know, the dozers aren't doing our food plot work for us like they used to be. So we certainly going to have to pick that end of it up and take that slack up and keep these places open. And a lot of it we can start with fire, burn the autumn olive off, and we're good to go. It's a lot about identifying, where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And then with the spraying come in, I mean, it's just dropping a nuclear bomb on the autumn olive, which is fun to see. And then they'll take fire through them the next year. So I think we've kind of cracked the code on what to do with them here.
Good work, man. That is awesome news. And a lot of people don't realize that's not just for the elk. I mean, you're talking about a multifaceted, spread across, the wildlife plane. You're talking about, wild turkey. You're talking about upland game. You're talking about deer. You're talking about, all wildlife species, especially the huntables, are going to benefit from these burns.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're entirely looking at it as a holistic approach for maintaining good habitat on mine lands. I mean, y'all know it. You can blindfold me and drop me on a mine somewhere, and I couldn't tell you if it was Martin County or Bell County, without looking around a little bit. It's all pretty much a carbon copy of each other, so we can figure it out and we got 16 counties we can apply it to. And I tell you, and this is giving away my secret, but freaking turkey hunting in a burned area, if you've seen a big tall sericea patch, there's no strutting, there's no business going on in a sericea patch. So I was blown away. I was glassing for some elk in early April, just looking at our burn unit, seeing what was going on, and man, it was group of turkey after group of turkey in that stuff. So if you turkey hunt that country, look around, February and March for some burned areas and mark that down.
Yep. Jay from the Bignell Bus said, "Hello, just jumped on that Kings Island. Burning will help bring back quail in those areas. Used to move several coveys on strip jobs in Breathitt County, but the habitat played out."
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right. And then Corey says the wild horses will appreciate it. That's a question we get all the time, man. How detrimental are the feral horses, on these strips?
I know that was always we dealt with that back 07, 08 when I was just a technician. It was kind of that Spruce Pine area down in Unit 3, and there was literally 300 of them that were beating it up pretty hard. I just don't find we found some big herds up, north of Robinson Forest in that country up there, but I don't find them like I used to. And then nowadays, I honestly think that them coming in, they will eat some pretty unsavory stuff that the elk aren't going to. They're honestly keeping her grazed down a little bit and letting some fresh grass grow. So it's not ideal, but I don't know. I just haven't. The areas that I've been working, just haven't run into them like we did 10, 15 years ago. But they're still there, and they're in pockets for sure.
Yeah. Justin, you got this tag, man, and I want to kind of switch gears. We could sit here and talk all night about elk and things. I'm glad John gave us an update on what has happened and what is happening with habitat management. But I want to talk a little bit about the elk hunter. This year's elk hunter. We're going to start with you, man. I mean, you have been beating the bushes and really a great example about what I hope every hunter is doing, especially if they're going to be a do-it-yourself hunter and whatever else. I mean, tell us about this ride, man, since you've got this tag and kind of where you're at with it now.
Well, in the beginning when I first got drawed, it was more about trying to reflect back on what I knew from years past and seeing how that changed to now. You start looking at their harvest data online. That helps a lot. But you also too, you've got to talk to people down there. If there's any way familiar, if you got anybody who's the slightest little bit familiar with anything down there, you got to start talking to them. It wasn't bad until the unit draw come out, the RAs come out, and I told Christy while we was in Africa, I said July the 15th. That's when the stress is going to start. But it's still one of those things that pretty much every day I'm on the phone or I'm talking with someone, because these herds change, their patterns change, just like with what John said with burning the 4,000 acres. The elk around those 4,000 acres over the next 2 years are going to be changing their whole entire habitat of the way they move and everything of that sort. So, and that's just kind of what I've been doing, is just doing my homework and the research and seeing what we can find. Of course, I think, what is it, John? August the 2nd, we can start going into RAs.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you're out there with an elk tag, look on my profile. The area draw results are up, went up last Friday, and then we can get into the August 2nd, but that's when they do go kind of back up for grabs, whatever's open, and we do have some open ones.
Yeah. What percentage, John, would you say? You don't have to give us no exacts. What percentage of those RA spots are open, would you say?
A handful. We've got a handful, but more than normal. They typically all fill up, so we readjusted a few of them, combined a few, kind of got rid of the ones that hadn't really been producing, and grouped them in with the next largest one around it. Let's see, Lost Mountain's a good example of that, where we kind of soaked up a couple of those around it. But no, I was surprised at the number I saw, and it was there was a lot more people selecting just straight units this year, which is a smart play. There was a little bit of confusion. I mean, just looking in, I'm sitting here looking at the Excel sheet right now, but putting a straight unit before a regulated area in the unit, there's a chance you're going to get that unit before the regulated area. So I think we're still, this is still a somewhat new system, and I think people are being much smarter about what they put in, which is good for everybody. But yeah, I would say definitely look. I was surprised at the number, especially for the later cow seasons, of open spots that there were. So be looking if you didn't get one.
Yeah, good deal. So, John, what from your all standpoint, I mean, we can get in here to guided, do it yourself. I don't want to. I want everybody to get their elk. I don't care who they go with. I don't care if it's do it yourself. If there's room for do it yourself hunters. There, if and this is what I try to tell everybody. People will call and ask us. I don't try to push them to an outfitted hunt. Here's what I tell them: if you got time to get down here and beat the bushes, you got time to get down here and spend several weekends, if it's for a working person, or several weeks down here, you can do a do-it-yourself hunt. Yep. If you can't, then you may want to take a look at an outfitted hunt. The fact, and here's another thing, people can be down here right now since they found out their unit, and it's good to go start scouting early and whatever else. But whatever you see right now versus what you see next month and what you're going to be in September, going to be totally different. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I saw back in the day, 2012 through 15, when I was doing my big study. It was like a bucket full of dice got rolled across the elk zone, and we'd have bulls pick up from one spot, move 30 miles. I talked to people. We had a lot of road kills of those bulls at that point in time because they were crossing roads while they moved. And then I talked to people. Half the people would lose the bull they were after because it moved. But then the other people would shoot a bull during season that they'd never seen before because it moved in from somewhere else. So, yeah, absolutely. And I kind of tell people if you find where elk are now, they're going to be somewhere in that general area. But a lot of the time spent now is just figuring out how to navigate the roads, how to get up there. You don't want to look at that place the first time in the dark on opening morning.
Yeah, access points and
yeah.
Access points is really the biggest thing right now that you can figure out.
Yeah, and just getting your mind
Hey,
wrapped
John,
around. Yeah. Go ahead.
What would you say the average elk once he drops his velvet? What would you say the average elk travels from his summer area to his breeding area?
It depends. It absolutely depends on the elk. There's no hard and fast rule. So I had a couple of big old guys that we had collared that would pick up and go absolutely to the middle of nowhere and set up shop. I don't know if they had cows with them or not, but in their 8 to 10 years of life, they've realized I can go here and be safe, and they'd come back out in January. A lot of those places where we found bachelor herds, especially younger bachelor herds, they're probably going to be right there. They're just going to be busted up. They'll be right there running around and when you think, it's what I always like to tell people, they got legs that are 5 feet long. It doesn't take them much time to go up and over a mountain and live on the other side for a little while. And with a 5-day rifle season, he hangs out over for 6 days, you're never going to see him. Even though that might be, the place where he spends the next 30. So I don't think there's a lot, if they've got what they want, they are making adjustments when that bachelor group breaks up and they start, poking each other with their antlers all the time. And then they're making adjustments in relation to the cows. Those cows are going to get broken up and their patterns are changing a little bit. And then it comes down to the acorn crop. So a lot of factors. Not much of a hard and fast rule on changing too much there.
Do you think the acorn mass? What's your thoughts on what it may be this year? Because we're so dry, it's pitiful.
I know. I don't have any idea, and I feel like in Trinity may agree or not, but I feel like the chestnut oaks kind of temper things in the mountains a little bit. It's not like I grew up deer hunting in Ohio County, and it was feast or famine with white oaks. We had white oaks, and when they weren't dropping, all the deer were down in the bottoms with the ag fields. East Kentucky, I mean, I can't tell you how many elk rumens I've opened up. It's just been solid chestnut oaks, which produce pretty regular. But of course, you can find that white oak, all the better.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell you, man. To me, I think that's the preferred. I think that's the preferred food source for those things. We take for granted. I mean, these things are grazers, but if you got a load full, you got a cash crop of acorns versus going out grazing. These things are going to be in them acres. And chestnut oak is where it's at. And don't let this drought fool you. We've been in a pretty severe drought. That drought, and Matt and I know that drought can push a cash crop out of these trees. So don't be sitting there. Don't be sitting there thinking, well, it's a drought and it's going to be a bad year. I mean, I'll be honest with you, for the last 2, 3, 4 years, we've seen an abundance of acorns. It's normally hits every other year or something like that. But now, if it keeps up going the way it's going with this whole drought thing, people's going to be surprised. And I want to go back. That was a great question about the mass crop, but I want to go back a little bit talking about, how well these things can move. That's another thing people need to realize. If you don't have a whole lot of acreage, if you've got an RA, you may have 1,000, 2,000, 7,000, 4,000 acres to hunt. That's great. But if you're a do-it-yourself hunter and you've got maybe a couple farms and you got maybe, I hear people say all the time, because they come from a place where they deer hunt and they think that 200 acres or 400 acres is a big piece of land. I mean, it is a big piece of land. but you're talking about a herd animal that can cover 1.5 miles in less than 10 minutes. And let's face it, how many people have the ability, if you bust a herd out and they go that far, 5 days, you're not going to see them again.
Mhm.
So you really need to be, wood wise and don't let that, it's okay to be aggressive, but, Matt tells me all the time, and he's proved it with this coyote stuff. I don't question Matt. Mine and his setup is a lot alike, but I'm less patient than what he is, and he's really proved himself how vital simple things like wind and scent control is. You go into a place and you go in there open morning, you're too aggressive. You may see him, you may not, and you may never see any if you don't be a hunter first. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the day when we were spending a lot of time in the winter darting them, we would have spent a couple hours sneaking in on them, and they busted out because the gravel crunched a mile away. That's just kind of my take on it.
This ain't a 4-month deer season.
Yeah.
This ain't he smelt you on day 1 of the season, and you'll get him 2 months from now because he forgave you and come back into his area. This is a 5-day season for the most part. It's a 5-day season. So opening morning when you walk in there and you ignore which way the wind was blowing and you bust that small herd of 8 or 10 elk out of there, they're not coming back for 5 days.
Yep.
Those little things are magnified because the seasons are so short.
Yep. Justin, what are you doing to prepare right now, man, as a hunter? You know the terrain. You're seasoned in the mountains. You got quite a bit of experience, but what are you doing right now as a hunter to prepare?
Trying to get caught up in the shop so I've got time to go hunt.
Yeah. What advice would you have for somebody trying to prepare? I mean, keep in mind, man, it's July the 16th. We're going to be elk hunting in less than we're going to be archery hunting in less than 2 months.
Well, you still got people who don't know whether they're going to get a guide or try to do it themselves. You still got people that don't know what for sure they're going to do. Like I said, you just need to be. My thinking right now is you need to be doing your homework, and of course, that big heavy me. I should have been walking about 6 months ago and climbing the hills back here to get ready for it, but I'm not. But I think the homework is your biggest strategy right now. Is look at these maps, get on OnX, whether it's Fish and Wildlife site or OnX. Start looking at these places in your area, and start looking at the lay of the land, the clear openings, what may contain food, a food source, what may not. Of course, the other thing is for us right now, we've even got guys deer, that are August, they can start baiting. They're even talking about if we don't get rain here, they're going to start putting out water with their corn because we don't have water. If you can find a good water source, maybe. Of course, with you all in the mountains, you all have a lot more springs and things of that nature, but I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just time to read the maps and make the phone calls and do your homework.
John, I know you talk to a lot of hunters. A lot of people want to get to you, want to talk to you. What are you telling hunters right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been I apologize to anybody that tried to get a hold of me since Monday. This is the busiest week of the year, and I've had a couple other things going on, the other parts of my job here. But my biggest thing, and I stress, is getting on OnX, getting on our S3 mapping system, looking those places over, figuring it out, but then pack up and take a trip down there. And if you don't even get out of the truck, it'll be worth your while to, if you've got an RA, to figure out how to get there. If you've got, if it's public land, big chunk of public land, narrow that thing down a little bit. If you narrow it down by half, you're twice as good as you were before you took that trip. You know, elk are up moving. We're seeing them. We've been down spraying some fire line, you know, just to maintain it. There's elk tracks on it. You know, if anything, it gets you out there and gets you excited about it. You know, they're out there, but start really thinking about making those trips. I'm a firm believer in scouting. If just to understand the terrain, you know, bull bugles in the dark in the morning, you want to know where he might be and how you can get around to him, and, you know, your plan B to get to him, depending on what the wind's doing. And a lot of that, just cruising the roads and taking a nice little trip in the summer is a good way to start whittling that down.
Something else too is, if you're a hunter who's getting out there and scouting right now because you're planning on doing something, you're doing it yourself. If you're not familiar with Eastern Kentucky, be aware that it's a good time to find a rattlesnake and a good time to find a copperhead right now.
Yep, absolutely.
You need to find some though.
It's a real good time.
And we're not talking little rattlesnakes either.
No.
You know, generally a 3-foot timber rattler is a pretty good rattler, but you know, we've definitely seen them bigger than that. So
yeah. Justin's got one he just won some awards with. I always talk to people about award-winning Tinsley Custom Wildlife. You can go to his page and you can see the rattlesnake that he just had in show and the awards he won with it, man. I mean, they're here, and it's just part of it, you know, and people need to be aware of that. Ben Moore knows all about it. He says old biggins over there in his neck of the woods where he's hanging out. Real big ones. Leg breakers, we call them. So what are we missing, guys? I mean, you know, we've talked about
the female that I
go ahead, Justin. Sorry.
I was just saying the female I mounted for competition come out of Bowling Green, the timber rattler.
Yeah.
And she was 49 inches with a 6-inch girth.
That's a big timber rattler.
Yeah.
They ain't got to crawl over them mountains down there in Bowling Green.
No, they just lay around and get fat.
I want to make sure, you know, we try to get everything that we can. So we've talked about the habitat management standpoint. We've talked about, you know, getting down here scouting. We've talked about the walking. You know, it goes without saying, and we try to tell everybody this: practice, practice, practice. We've seen world-class hunters get down here and choke up. I don't care where you've hunted at and how big of a hunter you think you are. Your gun or your bows, you know, you're going to wait till the week before. You need to be out there shooting. You know, everything, fine details with your weapon, you know, to, you know, your arrow weight, your arrow setup, your broadhead. You know, when it comes down to even shooting, you know, people think just because they got a big gun, they got an automatic thing. You know, you need to pay attention to what kind of ammo you're shooting. You know, this isn't a deer. I mean, I've seen these things. I've seen a bull elk take 3 shots from a 375 H&H and keep on trucking. You know, so those are all things that we try to tell hunters about. But John, what have we missed that we need to touch on?
And the one I always like to bring up is learn to freaking call elk. We got a great, you know, the show that we did with you on the webinar series. I'm firmly convinced that show's actually got a lot of traffic. Just so I think people were picking it up on YouTube. I'm firmly convinced you can get a couple diaphragm calls and a bugle and you know, some handheld calls, and just makes it that much more fun, especially, well, even for the cow hunters, you know. Before anybody with an archery or bull tag, you know, if you're doing it yourself, in the next 2 months, you can be a very, you know, a decent elk caller. without a doubt. And then, you guys know way more about this than I do, but I apply turkey hunting tactics to it. And it's worked out for me here a couple times and worked out for me in Colorado a couple times. So just having that turkey hunting mentality, not flatland turkey hunting, but mountain turkey hunting, it seemed to work, so.
Yep. Justin?
Trinity, the next thing they need to do is contact their taxidermist, find a taxidermist. That's one thing you can be doing.
Yeah. Now we have got, if you'll go back, was it last year, Matt? We've got a let's see, I get confused between, was 4-part with the food plots or 4 parts with I think 4 parts with the elk hunting. Right?
I think so.
So we basically took you before the draw with John and Joe McDermott, and we took you all the way through to the taxidermy and the processing, and Justin gave us all good, field care, how to take, because listen, we've not even touched tonight on, that's great. You got a place to hunt. You got a tag. You got a place to hunt. You shoot one. You get a 700-800 pound animal down. Now what are you going to do with it if you're not seasoning it? And it's going to be a huge culture shock. And let's face it, October are hot. It ain't the way it used to be. So we've got a 4-part series. If the people go back on our Facebook page, on our YouTube, you can go back and go over that. A lot of good information. Have a plan. You got to have a strategy. You got to be willing. Some RAs, you can't get a side-by-side too. Some of these places you're hunting, especially with archery, you may be well off the beaten path, and you're talking about a cut up and pack out. How are you going to care not only for your harvest, like your meat and everything, but how you going to care for your trophy? That's where you can contact Tinsley Custom Wildlife, a USDA processor and taxidermist, award-winning, best in the state, hands down. Not just because you're sitting here, we say it every week, Justin. Contact these folks and get you a plan for that harvest, because there's nothing worse, and I've seen it. It's not happened to us, but I've seen it with hunters. I've seen hunters that's waited all this time, and they lose trophy. They lose that freezer full of meat and everything because they didn't take the time to plan. Am I right or wrong?
Yep.
We're waiting on you, Justin. Chime in.
Yeah, you waiting on me. Yeah, like I said, I guess it was last year. You take these. I've skinned elk at 90, 92 degrees. And if you drop a bull out on a strip job in the wide open sun, especially no air stirring, in 4 hours you could be in trouble. It doesn't take, for some reason, the hair on an elk slips easier than probably about any animal I've ever fooled with, except for a pronghorn antelope. But you've got to be prepared to get that bull moved, or get him some cover. But, the biggest thing is just be prepared for what, if you even possibly think that that elk could do something when he's shot, you prepare for it. Many of us have seen elk go off we've seen elk go off of high walls, and, even had a cow one year that fell off a high wall and got hung in a tree. And thank gosh it was cold weather. But if it'd been a hot summer day like the beginning of this archery season, if you're not prepared to get it done and get it out of there, you're going to lose it.
Yeah, that's right. And folks, we preach this. We preach this week in and week out. You can go. Right here, I'm telling you. Can y'all see that, Matt?
Yes.
fw.ky.gov, man. This is a great place to start. There's more information than you can set down here in 1, 2, 3, 10 settings and get all kinds of great stuff. We're talking about elk tonight. We're going to focus on that. Right there, other links. Learn about elk hunting opportunities in Kentucky. You go up here to the hunting tab. And when you go up here, here's the hunting guides. You can get that information. But right here's the information with elk hunting in general. If you've not looked at this, this is great. Here's the history of the program, elk hunting info, available elk permits, elk regulations. If you haven't had a chance to sit down, you don't even know anything about it, you just know you got a tag. Right here, all of this is laid out. Look at all these links over here to the side. And there's videos. There's a multiple video. And we went over this a few weeks ago. We showed all these units and all the percentages and everything right here. There's all the harvest information from the past year. Here's all the elk reports, elk hunting reports, elk hunter surveys. I mean, all this stuff is transparent. Look here, elk quartering, Kentucky Elk University online tutorial. You won the draw now, archery. 10 tips for archery elk hunting basics, 101, 201. I mean, all this is at your fingertip, folks. And you can, every ounce of knowledge that you can have before you go to the woods is a little bit closer to success. And knowledge is power. They say it all the time. So knowing what to do in some of these instances, getting this is all experience stuff. Having that under your belt is a good way to be ahead of the game. So,
hey, John, one question I've got is a lot of these RAs, when they get drawed, do people still need to gather paperwork and permission slips from the landowners for themselves? Who's going to be with them? Mm-hmm. Everything like that.
Yeah, so we've got two companies that we've got land under contract with to get elk hunters on there. So anything with Kentucky River Properties or the RH Group. So if you're drawn for one of those two areas, on your My Profile on the upper left, there'll be a box that says waiver required. So we've got those updated as of late Friday, just before that went live, and you'll be able to find your waivers you need to sign and where they need to go and who kind of the point person is on those if you got any questions. But yeah, those are our two. That's about I'd say about half the RAs are going to require a little bit of paperwork.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Justin, what you got for us in closing, buddy?
Oh, I'm kind of starting to get excited. That's the biggest thing I can say is it took, like we were talking, it took a little over 20 years to actually draw that tag. And, it's just something that you don't want to let it go by the wayside, and you feel like you could have done more, I guess. That's like I said, I do something with or about this elk hunt about every day.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. John, one thing I want to touch on real quick. One thing we have not mentioned is the loyalty redraw.
Mm-hmm.
Can you allude to how many loyalty redraw folks? And if that's a bad question, I apologize.
No.
How many loyalty redraw tags were they this year?
Yeah, I can run you down the numbers. So originally, before last year, the first year loyalty redraw, we had 67. So we drew 15 tags for 23. That knocked us down. We actually had a handful of people get drawn out of that group that got really drawn. So we had 45 people sitting in that year that had applied, in that group that had applied every year of the hunt going into this year's loyalty redraw. And we had 25 tags that we gave out to them. So we've got 20 people. As unlucky as they are, they're a little bit more unlucky, but they will be in the running right there at the front of the line for next year. So we got 20 people left that have applied every year. So we did 15 tags the first year, 25 the second year. So we're working through that group pretty good. And I tell you, it's the best group of hunters to talk to. It's I've had more fun talking to those folks. They want it bad. They're asking the good questions. They're getting serious about it. So, and it's been kind of fun talking with them this summer.
Gives them something to look forward to. And, you know, that's like me, man. I put in the first year, 2001, and I missed in 2002. I missed by like a day or two. So I didn't put in 2002, but I've put in every year since 2003. So, since then, and I forget how many hunters are in that group, something like 140 or something like that. But I mean, at least I know I got something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can keep knocking out, 20, 30 people a year. That'll work down the list pretty quick.
That's right. Good deal. What we got in closing, John?
Man, my closing, just get after it. This is one of the first years I haven't gone out west, and I'm kind of missing the idea. I guess missing the mental task of preparing for a big hunt like this. Something I'm pretty used to doing in the summer. We're going to take it easy this fall and let my western points build up a little bit. But I kind of miss tinkering with my gear, shooting. I put on about 10 pounds because I haven't been hitting my workout routine. But, like Justin said, get on it. You don't want to have any regrets when it's over. It's going to be there's no easy elk hunting. I've had several Colorado and Montana hunters get drawn for Kentucky and tell me that it's a pretty, it ain't anything to shrug off. And, I've hunted both places and will agree with them. So, get after it, get the stuff prepared, get the shooting, and you'll be in business.
We look forward to it too, Mike. Can't wait, man, to get out there and chase them with you. Yeah. What you got in closing, Matt?
That's it, man. I'm just looking forward to a little bit of temperature break coming up this weekend, and looking forward to elk season, but I'm looking forward to coyote hunting too. Coyote hunt, man. I tell you what, that coyote hunting and that 95 outside, pretty hard on you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fat, and I sunburn easy. I got this old red hair and stuff, and I'm going to have to give me some of that Skeeter dope from Trapline Beard Oil just to hunt coyotes and it's 95 degrees outside.
We're going to whack a few this weekend. That's for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's for sure. For me, man, I tell everybody, don't make this tag all about a harvest. I get it. Everybody wants to harvest an elk. And the harsh reality is, and I hate to even say harsh, but some people take it that way. The reality is not everybody's going to kill an elk. I've talked to people. I've got buddies that's been out west 10 or 15 years and they've not killed an elk. Slow down. Enjoy this opportunity. Do all the homework you can. Do all the things. Go through the list. Do what you can while you're out there. Put as many things in your favor as possible. But enjoy this opportunity. The opportunity to get to hunt in the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, this majestic animal, these elk. I mean, just in that, just being out there is reward enough. And a harvest is just icing, man, on a beautiful cake. So, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the terrain, the diversity, all the things you're going to be able to see and enjoy, the ups, the downs. You may hunt an hour, you may hunt less than an hour, you may hunt days, but you got to get your mind right for that 15 to 30 seconds of opportunity. And if you're out there and all you care about is an harvest or whatever else, you may be sorely disappointed with your hunt. Whereas if you're out there for the right reasons, where you may be mentally prepared when it happens. Y'all agree?
Absolutely.
Look, 32% success rate last year. This is not a hunt to blow off and think that it's shooting a barrel like everybody that has no idea what it's really like is going to tell you. If you don't come prepared, you're going to go home in that 68% that didn't take something home. So this is a tough tag. It's a well-deserved tag. It's going to be a well-deserved harvest if you are successful. So come willing to put in the work and come willing to accept the success or the failure and enjoy it while you're here. And like I said, 32% success last year. Don't blow this off. You're going to have to put some work in and do some homework and come prepared.
Yeah. The opportunity.
Trinity, one thing I didn't mention a while ago, it just popped in my head, and John, you might help with this too. We talked about preparing. How long ago has it been since the flood?
It'd be 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, 2 years.
3 years.
Yeah. And that's where I think those areas, people need to really take the time and come in and check a lot of these areas out, because I'm sure there's probably still some places that bridges are out or, reroutes are being done and things of that nature, isn't it?
Yeah, it didn't help smooth out any of the old roads getting up to the top of the mountain in that end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal. Good point, Justin. Yeah. Folks, we appreciate y'all tuning in so much. Thank you all so much. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week. John, thank you for your time, my friend. Pleasure as always. Appreciate you, Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, all the men and women out there every day protecting all these great resources, man, that we love. We love, love, love. We take them for granted every day. I tell everybody, next time you see personnel, man or woman from Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife, walk up, shake their hands, thank them, because they're definitely understaffed, underpaid, under-equipped, and fighting the good fight for the things we love and we take for granted. Justin, appreciate you, man. Disney Custom Wildlife. I hope everybody gives you the opportunity to show the great things you got to offer. I mean, you can see a few of it there in the background, that great commercial, and if they want a quality experience. And really, once the hunt is over with, they want that artwork for a lifetime to commemorate the hunt of a lifetime. They better give Tinsley Custom Wildlife a call.
Thank you. We're open.
Matt?
We're ready to.
Justin sitting over like he's humble and all that. I mean, come on, Justin, be yourself.
I'm being quiet.
Gloat a little bit. Gloat
This whole show, I've been behind you all the whole show. I'm about just kind of ready to get off here, close this computer, and go to bed.
Well, I can see that. We'll let you do that. Folks, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Remember, if you want to know the creator, look at the creation. And, man, there's a whole world out there in the great Commonwealth right here. All the nature, all the hunting, all the things. Get out there and enjoy. We challenge you to get out there. If you're a coyote hunter, get out there and try some summertime coyote hunting. It's not just for fall or winter. Right now is a great time. As you can see, old Matt there's been yodeling them in, getting them in, and hopefully we'll be bringing some of that to you this weekend as we're getting ready to bear down, gear up, and get ready for the 2024 Kentucky elk season, man. We are excited. Y'all have a great rest of your night. We'll see you back here next week on air and outdoors with TLC Outfitters. Y'all have yourself a good one.
Thank you.
Eastern Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide. I can't camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the Appalachian Mountains, fields and streams. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks they're on the run. Where those dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name.